What's going on, everybody, and welcome to our channel, The Jazz. I'm JT,
How's it going, guys? I'm Ezekiel.
and our third member of the group, Alex Boyd, is not able to be here today because of the COVID-19 outbreak. So today we're going to be doing our top 10 favorite Disney World rides. No shows, straight up rides. So we're going to start with our number 10 and work our way up the list.
And we haven't told each other anything about our list.
Idea. So we do know what Alex's list is because we had to ask her ahead of time. So I'll go ahead and give her number 10. Alex's top 10 rides, starting with number 10, is Pirates of the Caribbean. It's Alex's first ride.
That's a good one.
Don't know why she chose it, but
it's a good one.
It's a good one. So my number 10 is Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. Now, the reason I chose Buzz Lightyear is because we basically max it out every time we go now because we go a lot and we know all the secrets.
All the secrets. We're
and
good.
It's funny just to watch my family get really mad that they're not as good as we are.
And you get a sticker.
Who doesn't
Small
like
note, add that in there. That's free.
So, that is why I chose that as my number 10. See?
My number 10, drum roll, is Pirates. I mean, it's just a classic ride. It was there when we were out when the park first opened. So, I mean, can't get better than that.
Good ride. My number 9 is Tower of Terror. Now, Tower of Terror is one of my favorite rides because the theming is just insane. The theming, as straight as when you go into the queue, the theming there is insane. And then when you get into the elevator shaft, it's just the cast members are really interactive and like you actually kind of get scared. And it's never the same every time. It's always different because it could drop you 10 times, it could drop you 1 time.
And you never know when you're going to drop because the first time you feel like you're going to drop, but then it blacks out and you go up another level and actually go into the ride.
First time I rode this ride, my family was like, when you see this little white line, you're about to drop. And so when I saw the white line, I screamed my head off and it didn't drop. So I looked like an idiot, the only one screaming to the ride. So that's kind of one of why.
So if you don't like thrill rides or drop zones,
it's not for you.
It's not for you.
Wait in the gift shop. So,
all right. So my number 9 is Soarin'. It's not. I wouldn't say they updated it a few years ago. It's not as good as the old one. I love the old one, but it's really good. Actually, when you're flying through the air in different scenes, you get different scents, different stuff thrown at you. It's pretty cool. So it's definitely one to look into and ride.
Right. If it was still the old one, soaring over California, it probably would have made my top 10 as well. My number 8. Now, this is probably not where most people would put this ride, but my number 8 is Flight of Passage. I know a lot of people would probably put that higher, but I've seen Avatar, the movie, and I like the movie, but it's just. And probably in a couple of years, it'll be more of a classic ride because we'll ride it more times. But right now, I love the technology, and I think it's just crazy how they can make you actually feel like you're flying on the back of a Banshee. And I think the queue is super immersive, and I just think it's a really good ride. But since it doesn't really hit me right here, I don't have it really high up, so it's on my number 8
That's
spot.
a good one. That's good. My number 8 is Test Track. Now, there's been two upgrades of this. I know there was an older version, more kind of just more about the parts and about the cars, the more testing of the product. This is more the futuristic. That you get to create your own car, just put different styles on it. You can actually compete to get the best of the day, the best of the month, something like that. Can't really remember, but and each scene you go through, it kind of tests your vehicle, for performance and I think there's 3 or 4 different ones. I don't really know them right off the top of my head, but it's really neat. And then there's a kind of a hidden thing at the end of it. If you never rode it, it's it kind of scares you a little bit. But at night, it's probably, I would definitely suggest at night that would be the best time to ride it for sure.
Definitely. So my number 7 is my favorite ride in Animal Kingdom, and that would be Dinosaur. Now, Dinosaur is one of my favorite rides, and I've ridden it so many times that I can quote the whole pre-show. And sometimes my family thinks it's annoying when I'm just in there and they just want to enjoy the ride, and I'm just going ham on saying all the words. But I know what he's going to say when you're in the vehicle. He's like, turn right, turn left. putting in 4-wheel drive, and every time he says that, I'm like, we haven't been in 4-wheel drive this whole time. And so
that's how you know we've been to Disney a lot.
yeah.
I mean, a lot.
So that's always a good one. And then it takes your picture, and we always try and do something different at the picture. Like the last time, I think me and Zeke acted like we were scared out of our pants.
That's a game. I mean, you try to get the best picture each time you. Each ride.
Another reason I kind of like it is when you ride it with somebody that's never rode it, they actually scream and they're actually like kind of scared because when the dinosaurs jump out at you, especially at the very end when it comes out, you just get a good laugh because if you know it's coming and they don't, you just can laugh at them. So
right, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, my number 7 is Smuggler's Run. It's a new ride. It's really good. If you have not been to Galaxy's Edge, the new Star Wars land in Hollywood Studios, you definitely need to go. It's really immersive. I mean, it really feels like if you love the Star Wars saga, I mean it just pulls you straight in. I mean, you feel like you're there. The cast members are dressed up more differently than any other theme park kind of section. It's really cool. Like their name tags are even different. That all the restaurants, everything. But anyway, so the Smuggler's Run, it's unbelievable what they did with that ride. You're riding in the Millennium Falcon actually. There's a pilot, an engineer, and a gunner, and each time you can actually get something different. So you can do, and it's a different experience each time. But it's really, really awesome.
All right. Before I say my number 6, I just want to say that the reason the Rise of Resistance at Mickey's Runaway Railway is not on my list is because I went to Galaxy's Edge before Rise of Resistance was open, and I only got to ride Smuggler's Run, and I haven't been to ride Mickey's and Minnie's Runaway Railway yet. So it's kind of the reason those are not on my list. But my number 6 is Space Mountain. And so Space Mountain is a classic Disney roller coaster. When you think of when you think of a Disney roller coaster, you probably automatically think Space Mountain. And so one of the reasons that I really like it is because we ride it so many times each trip that we compete to get the best picture every time. Another reason. It's another good one to get pictures at. So when you come around that corner, we all know exactly where the camera is, and we try and get the best picture. We've had some pretty good ones in the past.
Oh, yeah.
So some good memories there. But it's also a good thrill ride. It's in the dark. And fun fact about Space Mountain is it's actually slower than Big Thunder Mountain. And because it's in the dark, it makes it feel like it's going faster. And so that's a cool thing about Space Mountain. And so that's kind of why I picked it as my number 6.
All right, my number 6 is Flights of Passage. Now, Animal Kingdom is not one of my favorite parks, but I haven't even watched the Avatar movie, but that's how good this ride is. It's the new technology. It's kind of like Soarin's, but if they've done so much more with it. I mean, it's just
immersive.
Yeah, it's so immersive, and you've got this. It's unbelievable. You just got to ride it, but you really feel like you're actually on the back of the Banshee. I mean, it's heartbeat. You can literally feel it against your legs. It's unbelievable, and it's totally different.
All right, my number 5. Getting to the top 5, so we're getting close to that number.
Getting interesting right here.
So my number 5 is Toy Story Midway Mania.
Solid.
So, one reason I really like this ride is Toy Story Land is one of the best themed lands along with Galaxy's Edge, probably the best 2 themed lands in all of Walt Disney World. And it's been there longer than Toy Story Land has. They kind of made a new entrance for you to go in. But I'm not as good at Toy Story Mania as I am Buzz, so it's still a challenge for me when I go in there and to try to put up some points to beat Zeke, 'cause he's pretty good. And so it's really immersive. You really get shrink down to the size of a toy, and you get to compete, and it's in 3D, and you spin around, and that's kind of why it's one of my favorite rides.
All right. My number 5 is Space Mountain. Like he said, it's a classic. I mean, that's one of the rides you think of when you think of Disney and Magic Kingdom. It's just one of the mountains. You know, when they say it's one of the. I think there's 3 rides. But anyway, so Space Mountain, it's really pitch black. I mean, you really can't tell where you're going. You know, the turns, and especially if you're in the back, you really can't. But there's 6 cars. I mean, 2 cars. 3 in each. So you got 6 to a cart. So and you're in single file. So it's really interesting with the ride, and But it's just an overall great ride. You got to ride every time you go to Disney.
So my number 4 is Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. So a reason that it's kind of higher on my list is because I've been a fan of the Star Wars saga for a long time, and I just like, as a kid. I mean, I know I wasn't there when like the original 3 were coming out, but I mean, as a kid watching them, you're just like, man, I want to be Han Solo and fly the Falcon. So when I went in there, I was like, holy crap! I mean, this is the Falcon.
It really feels like you're in the Millennium Falcon.
So you walk into Galaxy's Edge, you see like Chewbacca standing there at the bottom of the Millennium Falcon. You're like, wow, I'm in a Star Wars movie, and so that's one of my favorite rides, just because of how immersive it is and how much I love Star Wars, and riding it with like my family that's big Star Wars fans too is just a great experience.
All right, my number 4 is Rise of the Resistance, and if you have not rode this, it is unbelievable. It is like the queue is really part of the ride. It's crazy. It's unbelievable how they did that. So you really not feel like you're just sitting there waiting hours and hours, because this ride can get really booked up. Because actually in the morning you have to book a boarding pass. You can't just go up to the line and say, can I ride the ride, or jump in line. You have to actually get a boarding pass throughout the whole day. Everyone that has a boarding pass can go ride it, but if you don't have a boarding pass, you just can't ride it. So. But anyway, so it's unbelievable. Like he was saying with Tower of Terror, they're so into cost, into the theming, and into like the actual world of Star Wars. Like it's really unbelievable how good that they are with that. And then not only the cast members, it's just the actual ride. Once you finally get on it, it's kind of it's a trackless ride. So you never know which way you're going to go, and it actually changes levels while you're on there and different things. It's just unbelievable.
Alrighty, so we're in the top 3 now. So my top 3, starting with number 3, is Pirates of the Caribbean. So Pirates of the Caribbean was actually the first ride I ever rode that my parents took me on when I was a baby.
Wow, that's
first ride.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep, and so that's kind of a reason that I have like emotional attachment to it. And then also the Pirates movies are probably, they're up there with some of my favorite Disney movies. That whole series is just, especially the first 3, how they just they're so good. And then the soundtrack, that's probably my favorite movie soundtrack. And I like how the music is in the ride, and I like how it's just like it's immersive. The queue's not as immersive as something like Smuggler's Run or Flight of Passage, but the ride itself, you just really feel like you're just surrounded by pirates, and you're in the city that's on fire. And then I really like how like Jack Sparrow, you can like spot him every once in a while, like in the ride, and then in the ride part, and then at the very end, at like the grand finale, he's sitting there in the treasure in the chair, rocking back and forth singing. So that's kind of why it's made my top 3.
All right, my number 3 is Rockin' Roller Coaster. And if you want a thrill, that's what you want to ride. That is the one you want to ride. It's unbelievable. It goes, I think it's 65 in like 2 seconds. It's if you want to, if you want your stomach taken, that's the one you want to get on. And it's at Hollywood Studios, and it's starring Aerosmith. So while you're riding, just going 65 miles per hour with loops and corkscrews and everything, you're listening to some Aerosmith. Can't get much better than that.
Alrighty. So my number 2 is going to be Splash Mountain. Now,
nice.
Splash Mountain is probably the ride that we ride the most times when we're there.
For sure.
Because we've seen the fireworks show, and Happily Ever After is a great show. Don't get me wrong.
So good.
But if you've seen it a couple times, you know exactly what's going to happen every time. You're just going to ride rides when everyone's standing there because the wait times are shorter. So that's a ride that, we'll probably ride 3 or 4 times just in that span. I've been on it to where it's been so empty that we just stay in the cart and they send us again. And so it's a great ride. The songs are great, and the movie that's based on Song of the South, it's kind of hard to get a copy now, but it's a great movie, and it's just that story is pretty cool. And then all the animatronics, there's so many animatronics in this ride, it's incredible. It's all the animals and stuff, and then the drop, it's a great combination of a thrill ride and a dark ride. And so some people just like it because of the dark ride and don't even like thrills. Like my Nana, she'll get on it and just hold her breath going down the hill because she hates the hill so bad, but she's lured in by all the animals and stuff. So that's kind of why it's one of my top 2 favorite rides.
All right. So my number 2 is Toy Story Midway Mania. Now, this is it's an awesome ride, but you get to compete with your friends. So each time, it's you're hitting different targets. You're getting better scores. Sometimes you might not get as good, and then you're competing with your whole entire family. So you come out of the ride and you're like, hey, what'd you get? Did I beat you and all this? So it's just an awesome ride just to compete with your family. Good, family fun ride. But I mean, it's 3D like he said, and it's been there for quite a while, and still to this day it has a long line, which it's good when that ride has a long line and it's been there for years and years.
All right, so the number 1 ride on my list is going to be Peter Pan's Flight.
Oh,
Peter Pan's Flight.
I figured. I thought so.
So just so all of y'all know, Peter Pan is my favorite Disney movie, my favorite Disney character. I mean, if it's Peter Pan, I like it. I mean, it's pretty simple. I got a Peter Pan jacket. I've got all kinds of Peter Pan merchandise on my shelf at home. Got Peter Pan pictures. I try and go see Peter Pan every time I'm at the park. But so he is just my favorite character, and this is probably why this is one of my favorite rides. When I think I was 3, 2005. Or I was 2, 2005. I rode that ride. I made my dad and my dad's best friend take me on that ride so many times that they were getting annoyed with me. So I know that ride's only maybe 2.5 minutes. Like, it's really short, but I just love the movie, and the ride always has a long wait. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, that ride is really short, and it's not a thrill ride, but it takes you up in a ship, and you're kind of soaring over London, and then you go through the nursery, and you go over London, you go around into Neverland, and you see the fight at the end on the pirate ship. And I just remember wanting to be Peter Pan on that ride. And so that is why it is my number 1.
And the line.
And the line.
The line.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's updated. I forgot.
It's awesome.
So we usually get a fast pass, so we don't always get to
right.
go through the
yeah.
line. So I kind of forgot. But if you go through the standby, it's interactive now. They have updated to where you're in the nursery and you can move, and your shadow shows on the wall like kind of Peter Pan's shadow does, and you can move stuff. And that's pretty cool. So the line is interactive now. I kind of forgot about that.
Right, yeah. That's nice little touch there.
Yep.
All right, number 1 for me, Splash Mountain. I mean, when I personally think of Disney, that if I'm going to Disney, I have to ride Splash Mountain. I mean, if I don't go to Magic Kingdom or ride Splash Mountain, I feel like I just haven't had a real Disney trip yet. I mean, that's how that kind of completes it. I feel like I'm at Disney when I ride that, and I finally feel like, hey, I'm back here, and back into it. But it's a classic. It's been there since it's open, and it's the drop at the end. I mean, we're competing on which picture we're going to do this time, and the drop going down. But I mean, it's a long ride. I mean, it's a good ride. I think it's like 5 minutes or so, and but it's a nice ride to sit down in the cool, because I mean, Florida's hot, so I mean, it's a good ride, and you can get a little wet, so it kind of cools you off a little bit. But there's so many different little things inside that you just don't know. So each time you ride, you're getting a new ride and you're getting an experience. So that's the cool thing about that. But each time, I mean, you just got to do it. I mean, I personally have to do it each time, and sometimes I'm doing 4 or 5 times a trip. So, but a cool fact about that is they actually drain the water every night, and then
Fill it up.
They refill it up, every morning. So that's a cool thing. That's pretty neat to know that little extra bit of information there. But I mean, it just overall, it's the lines are still, I mean, it's crazy packed. It's unbelievable how packed it can get sometimes during the day. So we most of the time always try to get a fast pass, because I mean, if you don't have a fast pass, you're going to be waiting hours. So we always try to get a fast pass, and at night, like he was saying, during the fireworks, you can go ride different rides, and that's an awesome ride to see during the fireworks, because you can actually see you're up at the top, and then when you go up to the top before the drop, it's an awesome view of the fireworks. Everything boom boom boom. It's just going on. It's just cool. So I mean, that's my top 10.
Yep. So that is our top 10 favorite Disney rides. Ezekiel, Alex, and my favorite rides. Next time we'll try and have Alex in the video, but I mean, just couldn't work it out this time. So in the comments below, tell us if you agreed with our top 10. If you didn't agree, maybe put your top 10 down there. But make sure to like this video, and if you want to, why not subscribe? So thanks. See y'all next time.
Have a good day, guys.